So basically, Gage, the audience it's the program is called Podiatry Practice Mastery. So basically, there's about almost 400 podiatrists that are interested in practice management stuff. And so, what's cool is because you have a graphics design background, you're with Forward Motion. We can't make it like a sales commercial. That's not what it's going to be. But totally my goal is, like you said, you guys blew up. Like, well, what can doctors do to blow up? Like, what can they do to really do like the one thing that sets you guys apart, in my opinion, is your technology, your 3D scanner, which is like, it's like the golden goose. It seems like that everything else produced based on that. Like, is there a way? And I always like to apply outside. Like, so how could a actual podiatrist implement that and different ideas? So I'll do a little intro, and then we'll get going, and I'll interview you, and then at the end you can share a little bit about Forward Motion. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. I have Gage here. He's from Forward Motion. Welcome, Gage.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be here.
Virtual. Everything's virtual these days.
Virtual. Yeah, nice to be here, not
in Massachusetts. So where are you guys? So you're with Forward Motion. Where are you guys at?
Forward Motion. Yeah, we're located in St. George, Utah. So it's kind of the bottom part of Utah. About 2 hours out of Vegas, Las Vegas.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And as we were chatting a little bit before, it's like, you guys, this isn't a sales pitch, but we use you guys just because we liked your scanner. We were using a different scanner, and it was a pain. You had to be like 10 feet away from the foot, and it's close. And you guys had some pretty rapid growth, and it looks like it was the owner was a CPAD to start, and then you got a DPN in there. Do you know a little bit about the history?
Yeah. So as far as the history goes, is the owner, his name is John. He's a CPAD, but he's also an engineer. He went to school. Originally, he was going to be a mining engineer specializing in obviously like tunneling and support and all that. And then his brother-in-law, his name is Mike, he's the DPM. So they took their two specialties, the engineering and stuff like that, and then the DPM, and they came together. And actually, originally, the first product was a prefab, an over-the-counter, a heat moldable shell. And they went through and they designed it, obviously the structure of it and then the material. And that's what they did for a few years and just made different versions of that to the point where they realized that the material they made could be applied in different ways. It could be applied to not just prefabs, but also be used in the custom world as a replacement or a replacement to like polypropylene. So that's kind of how it went from the idea to kind of the first company, which is JM Orthotics, and then it evolved into entered the custom market. As honestly, it started out as just a material that other labs could purchase or doctors could purchase, and then it evolved into a customs lab
because of the material. Now, but
because of the material.
The cool part, I think, is the scanner. Now, everyone now has scanners. Were you guys one of the first? Like, what's the wow factor with the scanner?
Yeah, so I guess to kind of tie that into our company identity as well, is our company really pushes innovations. For example, this material that kind of started everything, or at least got the ball rolling, was an innovation where we saw something that could be improved upon, right? So we came out with material.
Entrepreneurs are, right? You take something.
Yeah. We weren't satisfied. I mean, the gold standard is great, the polypropylene did its job, but we weren't satisfied. We thought there could be something else. So the scanner system, same idea. Your casting, your traditional plaster casts, even your biofilm box, STS socks and things like that, they were doing the job, but then we're thinking like, okay, as how do we make it better? How do we improve upon this, make it quicker, faster, easier, cleaner, just across the board, better for the doctors and for the labs? And so that's when we realized everything's going digital. There's got to be a way to scan it. So we got a hold of the scanner, the camera piece. I don't know if we were the very first, but we were definitely one of the first. And we got a hold of it, and we saw the potential. And we put a lot of money and effort and time into making sure it worked. And we actually have our own developer team. We have about 5 different actual code developers, programmers on our staff right now.
Really?
So yeah, so we started with
not all scanners are created equal.
No, so a lot of other labs hired third party development teams, or they bought an existing software that wasn't necessarily built for podiatry, it's just built for, scanning in general. So we hired developers to build basically an app specific for podiatry. So our software, we knew, okay, they have to be, the rooms aren't very big, so we don't want to, we need to be able to work within this confined space for the examine room. We don't have 10, 20 feet of space to use. We need to, we need to use this space. The foot is roughly this big, so we only need to scan this much space, but we need to be very accurate with that scan. So we had to reprogram the way that camera actually looked into the scan to accommodate for all those factors. And there's a couple of other things that we did, not by accident, but little problems that we solved that we didn't realize were problems until we ran into them, that set us apart. So for example, that the scanning area, when you hit scan, it actually locks onto that area. So you could kind of move the scanner wherever, but it's still locked onto that stationary area. And then that allowed us to scan closer, allowed us to be more accurate. And then as a result, we kind of cracked the code. Yeah, exactly, for scanners.
Now talking about like entrepreneur, do you think that's what filtered a lot of your growth?
Oh, completely. I think, yeah.
Is it the one, we talk about the one thing, is that the one thing, like if you didn't have that one thing, it would have been a different game?
I think the mentality of, so yeah, I think that the strive for innovation, trying to better the market, better the product, better everyone's working experience, just that innovation, I think, is what really set us apart.
If you guys are entrepreneurial, could you then license that to other companies, like other orthotic companies? Like, you get, let's say they're 150 for an orthotic, you get 10% of that just to license your, is it that much better? Just a thought. I'm just thinking about it.
We've gone through all of these also. So that's what other third-party companies do. They do what's called click fees. And so every time that scanner is used, that app is used, or, the software is used. We definitely started doing stuff towards that. We talked to some other labs, asked if they were interested or not, and most of them felt like they could do it themselves, or they already invested money into their own solutions.
Yep, they're already knee deep in their own cash.
Yeah, so I guess we were a little behind on that part of it. They found their own solutions because they saw that's just the way that the market was going. But we do have a couple of, so some of the codes that we were able to crack, some of the problems we were able to solve, we actually did kind of sell rights to use those back to the camera company, if that makes any sense.
All of them have the same cameras pretty much.
Yeah, all of them are the same cameras. And that camera, funny enough, was actually designed for augmented gaming. So kind of like a virtual reality gaming. So like you could scan your room and then you could have little characters run through your room, right?
Cool.
And also it's supposed to be used for like to be on the inside of something and look out. So like an architect or an engineer would go into a building, scan the building from the inside out, and then it would build a model. So we took that and we reprogrammed it to look from the outside in. Cool. To actually scan, something on inside of a set area. So that was kind of what, when we did that, the camera company, the scanner company reached out to us. They're like, wait a second, like we didn't even think of this. And because of that, we brought it to the medical market, and now that is their biggest market.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of a fun little collaborative effort by accident.
So let's talk about kind of like thinking outside of the box. So you work or you talk to podiatrists or, or different podorthists or things like that. What other ways of innovating do you see that are potentials within podiatry field? Like I'll tell you one that I've thought of. Like, could I buy one of those, send it to the patient, have it strap on their computer, and I can do your orthotics wherever they're at in the United States, just because it's cash. I'm not really treating. They're just scan, with their iPad, and I can send it to them. And you guys, I don't know if that's a future thing you thought of or other things. That's
true. We did think about stuff like that. The only problem we ran into, well, I guess it goes back to our company identity. We're a manufacturer, we're a lab for podiatrists. We're not a lab for consumers or for
For
patients,
the mass
right?
market, right?
Yeah, which technically we could shift that way at the expense of, our current accounts, our current clients, but I guess our current doctors. But it's definitely something that could happen. As far as like the technology exists, it could be applied. But I have seen doctors do some pretty unique stuff because it is so just mobile.
Yeah.
Your whole scanning room is in, a tablet and a camera piece. There's a couple of doctors I've talked to and that have used this in the past where they'll go to events or they'll go to, for example, a local 5K or a marathon or a half marathon or some sort of event where there's a lot of people, and then they'll always have like the marathons or triathlons and stuff like that will always have kind of they call it like a campus. So it's like where they start from, and they'll have like shops and things like that, and like vendors will be there. So I know of podiatrists that have like rented a booth and then basically just said, hey, come order some orthotics. And then they just have that scanner. And so, I mean, they're around all of these these people with that performance in their mind, so they could sell a premium product, a custom orthotic with a graphite shell and moisture wicking top cover. And, so they're targeting, it's a different clientele than they're used to. It's not, someone with actual issues that need to be resolved. It's someone
these are people elite that want to go to the next level.
Exactly. Yeah. And they are used to spending that money too. Their shoes, their equipment, their supplements, everything it's a premium product, but everything they spend their money on is pretty expensive. So a cash product to them, so I don't know what, $200, $300, $400 custom orthotic, isn't that crazy in their world, as opposed to, a factory worker or somebody else who, doesn't really have the budget or doesn't really have the, interest in something like that. So I know another one that does stuff that like, she's kind of in like a ballroom dancing community. And so she does stuff for ballroom dancers. So there's a lot of cool ways that you could take this mobile scanning room or mobile casting room, I guess, and go to your local high school sports teams or your college athletes. You could run a promotion for them or something like that. You could sponsor the team somehow, make them some more thought. Anyway, there's a lot of ways that you could.
This is what I like. This is what I like to talk about. This is great. Like, and like, even if you think about it, like I was talking to a guy yesterday, he earns a crazy amount of money, maybe 800,000. And so he's got an app, he's got ADD, right? So he doesn't want to go to his doctor to get the meds. So he'll pay $60 a month for this app, and he gets just meds that way. So he can save time. But like these people that are like triathletes, especially, you could market it. Guys, you just fly in, get a flight to Massachusetts where I'm at. We'll scan you, get your orthotics, to send them right to your house, and you're done. You know what I'm saying? Or you could have like a scanning station somewhere, because it doesn't take. It's not. I teach my staff how to scan it. You could almost send them it in the box. Teach them how to scan it, because you could scan it, send it back to you. And then make them in another state. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. That's a cool idea.
Oh, you could do all this. People kind of do that with biofoam boxes now. There's some other, there's other kind of labs that reach out to patients where they just ship them a biofoam box.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same. So you could almost reverse that and say, hey, I'm an expert. Let me work with you to. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of different ways that a doctor could actually, I feel like one of the biggest, well, you're talking about having these like triathletes and stuff like that. They understand the importance of an expert. They understand the importance of knowledge. So you could definitely reach out to a clientele like that.
And you would market it, say, hey, if you could get someone, give them a pair and say they can drop a minute off their time. They're, it's like golfers or whatever. And you could do a thin down one with you could do a pair for their bike shoes, a pair for their running shoes. You do a couple of pairs.
And then I know our lab, I'm sure other labs do this too. If we know what shoe that they're going to put it in, we could match it to their shoe. So if they send us, their bike shoe or their running shoe or something like that, we could actually cut the top cover to match that shoe. So it's a perfect fit to them and a perfect fit to their shoe.
I think patients really like the whole technology component, like laser anything.
Yeah.
Cool. Scanning, 3D scanning, 3D printing. I think that's going to be the future, don't you? Or will scan and
Yeah.
print in our back office. I think they already have
Mhm.
some. I don't know how good they are.
They do, and we were kind of looking at that too. The thing that's holding that back, I think, is billing. The billing codes don't have anything that really, you know, it's just a new technology that the billing hasn't really caught up to yet. At least that's what we've seen. But we're doing research, we're doing R&D on all that as well.
Yeah, but I also think the quality of the project right now, like you guys do a nice top cover and in the suede underneath it. You know, those things. If you mill it in the back room, it's not going to have the nice top cover. But who cares? $550. We charge $550. So if you can do it for $150, they might do them all day long. You know.
Yeah, you could almost like in between a prefab and a custom if they're kind of unsure. Yeah, there's definitely space for it. Definitely space, but there's also a space for a premium product, handmade, like you were saying, with the top cover, the bottom cover, and everything too.
Yeah, cool. What other marketing ideas do you have, or cool things that you see other podiatrists doing, or your things? Any other things that you like are wowed in their practice that you really are admire?
Yeah, I think so. I guess from my perspective, I am trying to approach other podiatrists. So my marketing vision or my marketing goals is like it's B2B, business to business. How does my business reach out and affect and help their business? And so I don't pay as much attention on how they reach out to their patients. But there was some things that I've seen that I've really liked. I guess this is kind of comes down to branding in general. Personally, my perspective of branding is not just your logo, the colors you use, the font type you use. It comes down to, I always tell people three things. It's your identity. So your practice identity, it is your rapport, and also your reputation. So those are kind of the three, in my mind, the three kind of building blocks of branding. And if you basically approach a problem with those in mind, I feel like that is going to be how you come up with creative solutions that are clear, that are effective. So for example, the first one is identity. So there's a bunch of, some practices that I've seen that stood out to me. They have a very clean, clear logo, business name. Their website is professionally done. You kind of get what you pay for when it comes to a skill, like a technical skill. So if you hire someone like who doesn't have a lot of experience or just out of school or something like that to do your website, you're going to get a website and they might be talented. But if you hire someone who's maybe a little bit more expensive, but has, the experience, you're going to get a better product. So, so again, so your identity, I think a good website, everything's online. If a patient has a problem, they're going to Google. First thing they're going to do is, probably look online, or at least it's becoming more and more that way. So if you have a good website and you actually invest time and money and effort into SEO, so search engine optimization. So when that potential patient is searching for a podiatrist in their area, you're going to pop up at least on the first page, or at least the top of the first page on their search. That's kind of, in my opinion, one of the most important things as far as marketing now, is just being accessible, being available, being present online. And other things that go along with the identity is a voice, meaning that you developed a voice, you developed an identity that your practice is going to have. So if you want to be the expert, you come in and you have tons of literature they can read and stuff like that. If you want to be like the friendly neighborhood doctor, you approach it with a more of a personable voice, personable approach, depending on your client, your target market, if you're looking for an older demographic or younger demographic. So you have to develop a voice that you want to use moving forward. And that'll change and evolve as you move, but it's going to help you, write taglines or write copy, write anything like that.
Cool.
And then, so that's what I think. Yeah.
One thing I really appreciate, there's a couple of industry transformers that I consider. One's just dropping some names. I like their marketing. Not that I don't even use their product, but I like their marketing. One is Swift, and the other one is Lapoplasty. Okay. So Swift is a light thing they use to burn off warts, and Lapoplasty is a bunionectomy procedure. But the cool thing is, once you buy their stuff or use their stuff, they do AdWords and they send them to your office.
That's clever.
It's kind of like a, what do you call it? Like the clicks, like every time you use it, like let's say they charge me $50 or $60, they might take half of that and invest it back in an AdWords campaign to push
That's
more of that to
clever.
my office. So like for orthotics, every orthotic I buy, you guys could put $5 or $10 in there and then do an AdWords campaign for me, pushing back to me. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot, actually.
Another idea was, if you give me, I was thinking about this, if you give me SEO copy for my website,
Mhm.
I know you guys have the little brochures, we can put our names on them, but if you could, I know,
Yeah.
and you also have the social media stuff, but if you give SEO stuff with like the link to your video, and I could put that on my website, and
Mhm.
it has a really good copy that would move patients, I could refer to that page on my website, just another idea as well.
I think that's a
And then
great
the
idea.
last idea, which I think would be cool, and this is my own little pet project, I don't know if it'll ever exist, but I think the future of orthotics is going to be membership.
Okay.
So let me explain. I charge
Yeah.
$550 right now. Okay.
Mhm.
You get a pair about every 5 years. So what I could say is I could say, you could pay $550 right now, because just so you know, none of my insurances cover it where I live.
Okay.
So it's not an insurance issue. It's cash.
This is cash. Okay.
But if I can get them a pair every 3 to 5 years and they pay a subscription fee, so $25 a month, they could do that and they would get a new pair or whatever, $10 a month, $15 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever that, and then in there, they would get top cover repairs, they would get any breaks, and they would get a new pair every 5 years. They would get a free discount for their friend, and they would get a monthly email newsletter about
Mhm.
orthotics, how to take care of them. So you guys would have them, you guys could run a drip campaign to everyone that orders them, and then just giving constant value, so it'll be top of mind for the podiatrists. So I think
Yeah.
I think the future is going to be maybe a membership for
Like a
this.
subscription.
A subscription format, because some
Yeah.
patients, they don't have the 550, but they're willing to pay 10 or $15 a month. But
Mhm.
there's a little risk, right? Because you're going to outlay the 120 or 150 to buy them from you guys. But I think that's a cool, and also like as much marketing information that you can provide. Like if you guys sent me a monthly email, like a
That's a good
newsletter,
idea.
a podiatry newsletter, and then I could send it to my patients, it would also push more orthotics. So like, hey,
I'm
once a year you should get a pair. You should get them evaluated once a year, or whatever you want it. I think that's some cool stuff too. So
no, I think it's brilliant. I'm actually writing some of those down right now so I don't forget. Because
cool.
yeah, those are fantastic. I think we do. So the way we're gearing right now, I guess as far as our company goes, I'm assuming other labs are probably similar. Is we're obviously focused on manufacturing. We want to make sure that our product meets your standards and gets to you guys on time, gets to the podiatrist on time. Lately, we have been focusing more and more on customer service relationships with our doctors and stuff like that. And then, yeah, just how do it's kind of a, not in a selfish way, but if the doctor's practice grows, we grow.
Get more.
So that's what our
Indeed.
next goal is.
The issue is we assume, just so you know, any vendor, we assume you have a great product until you mess up.
Okay. That's
I'm just letting you know.
that's good to know.
I have
No,
no
that's great to
question.
know.
I have a question the first 5 or 10 I do, but after I do those, there's no question anymore about what you know. Just like, I know what you guys know what you're doing, and you might mess up once in a while, but that happens to all of us, and you guys are good on
Mhm.
it. So that's not a concern. What would really help me, and I've asked this,
Yeah.
I've asked Tracy for this, and he hasn't done it, and I'm mad because this doesn't exist. If you said, hey guys, we have a 12 module sequence on teaching me how to do orthotics better, like
Okay.
diagnosis specific orthotics, how to scan better, just how to do sales better for orthotics, how to market them better, like then I'll do more. So in my big qualm is, like, for example, when I learned Shockwave, which is used, I don't know if you're familiar with Shockwave it's a new technology, really expensive, but I did a deep dive and I consumed everything that was available.
Mhm.
But the more I consumed, the more I did. And so
Yeah.
with orthotics in biomechanics, we only get like maybe a year in school, then we get all the surgical training. And then the only way we can learn is for self-educating.
Mhm.
And the thing is so I feel incompetent a little bit. This is how I'm a pretty open guy. But if I learn 10 times more about
Mhm.
orthotics, I would do 10 times more orthotics. I just don't know how to
Yeah.
learn it.
Interesting. So no, I like that a lot. So I guess, what kind of material would you digest the best? Would you want video format? Would you want like blog posts and articles, or what? If we were to put together,
I was thinking
material
maybe
for
like
you,
a
what would you like?
membership site.
Okay.
You could do a simple membership. That way you can make it fresh. And then you would get basically either the people that are doing the most orthotics with your company to do some lectures. Some of the doctors, like I'm doing 10 orthotics a month or 10 a month. My partner's doing 40. I'm sure you have guys that do 100.
Mhm.
Now, why are those guys doing 100 and I'm only doing 10 or 20? Yeah, it's insurance, but I want to do 100. I just don't know how to get there. And I'm not good at explaining it. Is it because their insurances cover it? Is it they see more patients? Like you could go over sales, you could go over pathology specific, but it's a lot of it's the sales and understanding how they work and how to explain them to patients. I think that's the key. Some
Okay.
doctors are wordsmiths. They're just really good at explaining it. But get those guys, record them, go to their office, record how they exactly do it, put it up there. Hey guys, watch this 20 times, try using it. Here's a script, so help us to do more. Like I would love to do 100, right? So would you. I'm still learning how to explain it. So I'm really open. And I think that would really help me the most is you teach me more to sell more.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, this is great. I mean, Tracy and I have been working on videos for frequently asked questions, but that's more of like the pathology side of things. It's not so much what you were explaining, like how to sell to patients, how to market to patients, so I'll definitely start writing up ideas for that as well. I think it's brilliant. I like that a lot.
It helps. I'm always helpful, and because I think it helps the profession, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you would help all orthotic companies. That's why if you put it in a membership, they kind of have to be your customers to use it.
Fair enough. And that could definitely be something we offer to our customers. That's a great idea. We're always trying to figure out how do we kick back to how do we offer more.
Yeah. And that would be if you get one guy that's stellar at doing orthotic sales, do like a monthly webinar and record it and invite guys to ask questions and have him share his spiel and get these guys that are really good at doing a lot of orthotics.
I think it's a great idea.
And the thing is, the guys that do a lot, just so you know, my partner does 40 a week, 40 a month.
Okay.
Better than, and he does great. Well, I think is a high number. And I ask him, he can't explain it. Like the guys that are really good, they're like natural. Like he just believes in them so much that he's been doing it for so long. Whereas you need someone that's good to explain it because he just says, oh, so the best way I find is to actually do a webinar where they're teaching something and they're actually doing it or doing it on a patient and record their interaction with a patient to see how they explain it. So
yeah, that'd be a great idea. No, that's fantastic. I'll definitely start working in that direction. Cool. Yeah, thanks for that.
Thanks, Gage. This was fun. Once again, you guys are with Forward Motion. They can go to forwardmotion.com or fdmotion.com if they want to learn more.
fdmotion.com.
And you guys got some good stuff there.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Anything else I could?
No, I think the listeners have got some good ideas. And if you have more things that you're developing, let me know and we can share it to my group in the future. Okay.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks for your time.
Welcome.